Hey guys, it's Lizzie. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and joining my live stream. I have continued my adventures on the East Coast where Mass is actually open. It's been so amazing getting to go to Mass and adoration and confession. California is really closed down, so it's been really nice being back on the East Coast. I don't know why I said back on the East Coast. I haven't really lived on the East Coast since I was in high school, but I guess it was like my entire life. Like I grew up in the Midwest as well. So technically my roots and my birthplace are definitely more East Coast than West Coast, even though I've lived here longer. Important announcement. I'm getting my hair bleached black to blonde. So it's going to be the same balayage that it was before, where like different pieces are dark. Like different pieces underneath are dark, different pieces up here are dark, and then it'll grow out as brown blonde balayage. So I'm gonna do the same thing that I did in 2017, again in 2020, and then my hair will gradually be growing out in like more of my natural color, more blonde. So I'm getting that done on Tuesday morning, which I'm really excited about. I found a non-sketchy place to do it. I was reading different lists like around where I'm staying, and some of them look so sketchy on the outside. So I was like, I need a safe place to go to that can just do normal hair. So that's going to be happening. I don't know what your guys' opinions are on if you like brown hair or blonde hair more. I grew up my entire life with blonde hair, and then it started darkening when I was in high school. So that's when I started bleaching it. And back in the day on my YouTube channel in like 2011, I made a YouTube video about how I naturally bleach my hair blonde, and I use hydrogen peroxide and I put it all over my hair with like a spray bottle, and then I like dried it in the sun, and it made my hair blonde. So I did that for a long time, and then my first time actually going to a salon and going blonde was in 2017. So it's kind of crazy. I've been doing my own blonde my whole life, but I don't want to go through the whole process of bleaching with hydrogen peroxide. It just takes so long. And I want the cute like balayage thing going on. If you're a guy, you're probably like, what is she talking about? But the way my hair has looked for the past like 3 years, where it's like gradually like different pieces and stuff, that's what I'm talking about. So I have you guys on my phone just because I'm further away from the camera. And I'm going to be reading the comments from here. Hi, Mariah. Hi, Alexander. Hi, Ricardo. Hi, Bid Rod. Philippe says, how are you doing today? Louis says, my favorite apologist. Nelson, Hyro, Nathan, Alioth. Alexander says, your brown hair is beautiful, but I'm sure it will be fun to see you blonde. Thank you. This is like my first time having brown hair in my entire life, so it's been really, really fun having darker hair. People say I look more sophisticated, more mature, older, and more intelligent when I have brown hair, and then when I'm blonde, I look younger and less intelligent. So we'll see how it affects my YouTube views too. Your dress is very short. No, it's not. This is like a really, really long dress. It goes like all the way, if you guys can see, all the way down to there. So nope, it's not a short dress. Thanks for the input though, bashing my modesty when I'm wearing one of the most modest things that I own. Actually, not one of the most modest. I have skirts that like go to here, like in the front as well. So anyways, there's always gonna be the modesty haters out and about to get me. Also, I want to show you guys, I'll read some more of the comments, but this fruit they had at Trader Joe's, which is literally from Thailand. Like I've never seen it in America. Actually, no, I saw it in America at an Asian market once in Florida. But I was shocked that they have it on the East Coast because you expect like Asian fruit to be in California, like on the West Coast. So anyways, these are called rambutan, but in Thailand, they called them hairy berries. And I'm going to eat some on camera, so that's exciting. I'll show you guys up close. Isn't that crazy? They look so bizarre. So I'll open one for you guys. I already washed these. So this is what it looks like. It's like a giant red thing. And then part of my manicure came off when I was opening this, but that's fine because they're so good. So you open it, and it tastes a lot like a plum. So let's get it off all the way. There's a seed inside it as well because it's a fruit. So of course there's a seed. So then this is what the inside looks like. It looks literally like a plum. Yeah, it tastes like a plum is like the only way I can describe it. Like a plum and a grape together. That's what it tastes like. So it's called rambutan, but in Thailand they were like, call them hairy berries. So that's what that is. It's so good. Maybe I can order Thai food and do like a Thai mukbang. I don't know if they have vegan Thai places here. Where I lived in California for 2 years before I moved, there was this like amazing restaurant that was a totally vegan Thai restaurant. Like everything was vegan at the restaurant. It was so cool. And it was like in walking distance too. So Ray says, I love your first video, how to know if a guy likes you or something like that. That wasn't my first video, but like back in 2011, 2010, 2012, I made videos like signs a guy likes you, signs a girl likes you, signs a shy guy likes you. So yeah, that was my content for a long time. People are like, you should go back to making relationship advice videos. But I literally made so many videos talking about relationships. Like I don't even know what else that I could talk about. Harrison says, hi, Lizzie. I started to convert to Catholicism this week. Yay! And I went to Mass today. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so happy my videos have helped you. Welcome home. We're so excited to have you in our 1 billion strong Catholic family and even more billions in heaven right now who are part of the church on earth. The church in heaven, church on earth are all interconnected. So that's really cool. Fatima says, hi, Lizzie with hearts. Hi. Alexander says, I hate dumb blonde jokes. Sexist. Bethia says, hi, Lizzie. Interesting question. Can Orthodox wear scapular? I'm Orthodox and I want to wear one. Absolutely. You can wear a scapular. I think that our communities are so similar. Our theology is so similar. So it makes sense that you would take something from a Marian apparition. Like she's not just appearing for Catholics, she's appearing for all Christians. So definitely wear a scapular. I own one as well. I think it's a really fun thing to wear. Currently, I'm wearing a miraculous medal. Melanie says, Lizzie, I love your dress. Thank you so much. Isn't it modest? Someone was like, the dress is so short. And I was like, dude, like, look how long this dress is. Like, what do you want? It like caving onto the floor or something? Like, I do not understand your guys' thoughts on, a lot of people's thoughts on modesty. They're just so bizarre. It doesn't seem tasty talking about the rambutan fruit, the hairy berry. It looks so weird, I know. But it's like, they're so delicious. It's like eating a plum and a grape combined. Just think about that. Those are both really delicious foods. And actually, these come from Guatemala. That's what it said, which is weird. I didn't know that Guatemala and like South and Central America, had fruits, like Asian fruits, but I guess they have the climate to grow them, so these are so good. Okay, let's look for more comments. Keith, sorry I can't talk, it's like water. Keith, happy birthday, I'm so excited for you. Here's to another year. James says, good afternoon, love your dress, thank you. Isn't it so modest? Gianmarco says, hello from Italy. God bless you. Hi. Alexander says, is it possible that someday you will run out of Catholic things to say and this channel will become something else entirely? I've been thinking about that and I decided no, I'm not going to stop making Catholic content. It's obviously like the central, most important part of my life. And it will never stop being that. But I am kind of running out of content to make and running out of content that I'm passionate about. So I have a list though, if you like saw my computer, I have a notes on my computer with like 50 video ideas and like so many of them are crossed off. So many of them I haven't done. So it's going to be more content that just requires a lot of research. Not that my other videos haven't, but it's just going to be like really, really intensive reading and reading and reading to do more content, to talk about very like niche philosophy and theology things. So what I think is going to happen, number one, I'm going to make videos talking about Marian apparitions. Number two, I'm going to talk about specific saints, like books I've read of saints. Oh, someone donated money. Let's see. Epiphanio Chakan, you are amazing. Thank you so much for the donation. That's so sweet. So, yeah, I've thought about completely changing my channel. I really have thought about not making Catholic content anymore just because there's over 100 videos. And like in every live stream, people are like, talk about this. And I've already made like 3 videos on that exact topic. So yeah, I just run out of things to say. I'm definitely making more bipolar content. Like the video that's uploaded to my channel right now is talking about that reasons that I've gone off meds in the past and why so many people with bipolar go off meds. So I'm definitely going to keep making bipolar content. It's honestly up to you guys to do video requests. Like if you want me to keep making Catholic content, like tell me videos to make. So I'm really grateful in live streams. People have told me a lot of video ideas and I've written them down. So yeah, it's going to be very niche content though that I'm going to have to do like a ton of reading to make the videos and stuff. Matthew says, glad to hear it, Lizzie. Keep it up. You help so many of us out there who might at times need a little extra motivation. Thanks for what you do. In My Head says, have you heard about Father Dolindo? Amazing man. No, I have not. Ariana says, I recently started watching your channel and I want to become Catholic now. Yay! Welcome home. We are so happy. If you want to become Catholic, there's so many of us. So many people in heaven who have been praying for your conversion as well. Your guardian angel is in front of the face of God praying for your conversion into Catholicism as well. So keep praying to your guardian angel. I hope you find some saints either in the New Testament, Old Testament, or in modern times throughout church history to pray to and connect with. And yeah, definitely I should probably make a whole, this is the thing, like I've made so many videos. I have a whole video on how to become Catholic. So YouTube search Lizzie's Answers, how to become Catholic, and I give like a lot of resources of how to read more and research and get to know the faith more. And sorry, my friend just texted me. So basically, my boyfriend took a COVID test and tested negative, and he was around one of my friends. So she was like, thank you so much for telling me that like he's negative, because that means everyone else is also testing negative for COVID and doesn't have it. So yeah, it's just a really nice reminder, because I don't know what it's like where you guys live, but like where I am right now, it's really difficult to get a test. You can only get it if you have symptoms. You can't get it if you just travel to a place with COVID, or if you're about to travel to another place. You can't get a test just to make sure. If you're like pre-symptomatic or anything, like it won't tell you. But my boyfriend is going to his PhD program, and to be on campus, every single person has to take a test to enter campus, which means they have a ton of money at their school. So that's why he was able to get the test. So, okay, more super chats. Ray says, have you seen the movie trailer for Our Lady of Fatima Catholic content? Yes! Oh my goodness, like 6 months ago, maybe not 6 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, like every single live stream, it was like, watch the Fatima trailer, watch the Fatima trailer, watch the Fatima trailer. So people were obsessed with it. Jonathan says, is it me or do people find it strange when I hear Saint Mary? I never associate it with Mama Mary. Okay, so like in the Hail Mary prayer, I was like, is it the Hail Holy Queen or Hail Mary? In the Hail Mary prayer, when we say Holy Mary, Mother of God, holy means saint. So like in Spanish, they're just saying Saint Mary, Mother of God. They're not saying Holy Mary, Mother of God. So that's something really interesting, where in another language, they're so used to saying Saint Mary, but you're right, for us, we say like Mama Mary, or like Mary, the Virgin Mary. Like we don't say Saint Mary. Like when I hear Saint Mary, I think of a different saint named Mary. You know what I mean? Okay. Fatima says that in Mexico, it's the same rules to get tested. Yvonne, do you like Trump? I think he's a highly corrupt person. I don't think there's anything inspiring about him. I think he's done horrific things as president. He's also done amazing things as president. Obviously, as Catholics, we agree and disagree with both political parties on a host of issues. So there's things that he's going to rule on that I agree with. There's things he's going to rule on that are against Catholic teaching. So that's how I feel about politics in general. Like every single politician, I'm going to love things that they're doing and hate things that they're doing. But he does pass a lot of laws that are great for the country. And a lot of people like who are like, Liz, like you're so liberal. How could you say anything positive about Trump? And it's like, guys, Congress is passing bills constantly that are for everyone, that everyone can agree on. It's not like they're constantly fighting and bashing and like not able to pass any legislation. Like they're constantly passing legislation of things that we can all agree on. So obviously Trump has signed those bills into law. So he's not like 100% an evil person, but I think like on a personal level, he seems really corrupt. So just based upon like everything that he's done, allegations, business decisions, everything. Okay. Lou says, in what language is St. Paul's letters to the Romans written? It was written in Greek. Common Sense America, I like your dress. Thank you so much. Ukmi, what do you think of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? So I've noticed that Taylor Marshall's new content is like all about the election, so maybe I should start speaking on it. But my personal opinion on Kamala Harris, well, number one, Biden doesn't know how to pronounce her name. He literally mispronounced his VP's name, which is ridiculous. So I personally think they're going to win. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are really conservative compared to where I'm at politically. Like I really liked how a lot of the Democrat candidates were like universal healthcare, for Medicare for all, student loan forgiveness, wanting to be less aggressive with the military. It just seemed like the country was moving in a really positive way. And now we're almost going backwards when it comes to actual legit policy changes that could happen. Kamala Harris, when she was serving in California, put so many people in jail for things like marijuana and drug laws, which you guys know, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement, like a huge thing that I care about is not putting people in jail for drug crimes and instead moving towards a rehabilitation system. Maybe she disagrees with her past actions, but I hate so many of the things that she did, and they're very conservative, and it's just not progressive in any way. So I'm disappointed with both of them. I mean, regardless of who wins, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm going to be happy because they do things that I agree with. They do things that I don't agree with. Kamala Harris also said that the Knights of Columbus, which if you didn't know, is this like Catholic fraternity that does all sorts of things to help the poor. She called them an extremist group because they agree with Catholic teaching. Both of them also love abortion and want to increase abortions or increase access to abortion. Maybe they don't want more abortions, but they want to increase access to abortions, which will cause more abortions. They're also against religious liberty. So those are issues that I have with them. I have other issues with Trump and Pence and how they're getting rid of so many environmental regulations, not handling COVID very well. So yeah, I mean, as Catholics, we should be really upset at both parties and not happy by either party. Like both go against Catholic teaching on so many issues. So Kamala Harris also could have gotten rid of the death penalty in California and didn't. So that's not pro-life as well. So yeah, it is cool though to see a woman and a person of color as vice president. I think that's really cool. And I think that will inspire so many women. So even though I disagree with her on so many things, I think it's great that it's a woman. As a woman, I like seeing women. It's so crazy that like in the US, we've never had a female president or a female vice president. It's just wild because in like every other country they have. So those are my thoughts on the election. I'm not excited about either candidate. I'm not excited about anything. I am excited about the debates. I think the debates will be highly entertaining. So that will be some comic relief amidst everything going on in the country right now. So what are your guys' thoughts on the election? I don't want to make an entire video on it just because that's what live streams are for. We can talk about issues like this. But yeah, definitely not excited about the election. Okay. Keith says Trump's brother died. I saw that. I didn't even know that he had a brother. I know his sister works for a federal court in, I think, like DC circuit. I don't know. She works for a federal court. So I didn't know that he had a brother though. So I wonder how close they were. That's really sad that he died. Ariana says, what are some ways that liberals and Catholics align? I know some ways that conservatives and Catholicism align, such as being pro-life, but was curious how it aligns with liberal policies, ideologies. That's a really good question. So when we think about pro-life issues, obviously abortion and euthanasia are ways that people are like, and excessive war are ways that people are directly dying. But other pro-life issues that are kind of like secondary pro-life issues have to do with womb to tomb. So anything having to do with healthcare, taking care of the environment, which directly affects people's health. Like I just mentioned, Trump has gotten rid of dozens of environmental regulations. So things that are like putting toxins in the air, like they found coal in breast milk, so already poisoning people as babies. So healthcare, the environment, capital punishment is something that conservatives are for, that liberals tend to be against. Also, access to education. I think it's really important that we don't just care about the fetus, but we care about that baby and its entire life. So government programs like Medicaid that help poor people, that help poor children, school lunch programs, just anything like that that will help the life of the person are issues that Catholicism and the Democrat Party will align with. I also would say that like traditionally, the Democrat Party has been against excessive war, but now, especially with Obama and Biden, I'm sure will be the same. They're like into excessive war. So both parties are not Catholic in that sense, because we inherited from Augustine a beautiful just war theory. And Bishop Barron has said that in the entire history of our country, the only war that has been just is World War II, entering into the war, but it wasn't even a just war because of how we fought the war. So literally none of our wars have been just in the entire history of America. And so within the US, it's just like we have soldiers everywhere, and it's ridiculous. Like we're killing so many people, we're killing civilians. So yeah, both parties fail in that regard. But yeah, so in the Republican Party, religious freedom is really important, and I'm serious about this. I made my video talking about how Catholicism is under attack. And in the video, I talked about how Obama went after the Little Sisters of the Poor. And in other states like New York, Pennsylvania, they shut down Catholic adoption agencies. So there is a lot of religious freedom stuff going on, which liberals are against our religious freedom in certain areas. So being against abortion and religious freedom are good on the Republican side, and then on the Democrat and against euthanasia. So those three things on the Republican side. On the Democrat side, healthcare, environment, being against capital punishment, and then neither parties help with the war aspect because they're both like love going to war, which is like absurd. I hate it so much. Oh, but not Obama, Trump, Freudian slip, because Obama was similar, but Trump bragged about expanding the military, so that's something that's not Catholic at all. Ladat says, as Catholics, we should make our own party with pro-life all the way on the ticket. I agree. We need a Catholic party where we can just have Catholic ideologies, because it's absurd, like how neither of the parties, it's so difficult to support either of them. Gyro says, and she claims, so I assume that's Kamala Harris, that being Catholic disqualifies anybody from the Supreme Court. That's so ridiculous. And Biden claims to be Catholic as well, which is just, he's a fallen away Catholic. Okay. RJ says, I appreciate your consistent pro-life stance. I do too. One of my favorite parts of myself is being consistent in everything. That's like my goal and how I aim to live. Okay. Crypto says Harris also got her career started by having an affair with a married man. Yeah, I read about that as well. It's really sad. Gyro, did you and your boyfriend have the chance to watch The Chosen? Oh my goodness, you guys are so funny. You want me to watch The Chosen. So I downloaded the app and we might watch it. Here, I'll screenshot this. And maybe tonight we can't because he's working really late. But yeah, maybe like tomorrow we'll watch The Chosen, maybe tonight. So I'm going to mass really late tonight, and then we have to make dinner, and then yeah, so Maybe we'll watch it tonight. I'll tell him about it. Okay. Lizzie is the first female Catholic president in 2040. Ernie says Pence is a falling away Catholic, but Biden is a false Catholic. Okay, so you're kind of wrong, because technically, anytime someone is baptized as a Catholic, they're Catholic if they have a Catholic baptism. And so it's not that he's a fake Catholic, because he probably had a legitimate baptism. So, yeah. Ukmi says, you see me rolling. Oh, wow. I remember how to pronounce this username. So you see me rolling says, Biden is only Catholic in name. Trump is not Catholic at all, but has done more for Catholics than Biden when it comes to like religious liberty and stuff. Yvonne, is democracy a good system for leadership? Absolutely not. Common Sense America, are you going to talk about Trump's election meddling with the post office? Yes. What is he doing? They literally at one point, thank you for the donation rule. They literally at one point were like tearing down like the places to put mail in the USPS boxes. Like, what? And the thing that's so stupid about that is that proportionally, so less people will vote, but it'll be proportional Democrats and Republicans. It's not going to like change the election. And my thing too is voter suppression is such a big deal with Republicans, and then Democrats also gerrymander, both of them gerrymander, which is like making like districts that are like do instead of like a district like that for like the House of Representatives and like state Senate, state House and everything. So my thing is, if you're that scared of not winning, come up with better policies. Come up with policies that people are excited and passionate about, and policies where people want to elect you. If you have to do all these like sketchy, sneaky tactics to win, come up with better policies. It's just absurd. I don't understand it at all. And there's this graphic going around on like Twitter and Instagram of the prices of USPS compared to UPS and FedEx. And I have been doing giveaways. So I've been like mailing things to subscribers and mailing birthday presents to friends this year for the first time in a while. And it's so expensive going to UPS. It's like 3 times as expensive as USPS to mail things. So I don't know FedEx. I don't try out FedEx. But I was just like so mad. It's just such a stupid thing to do right now. It's just like absurd. He's such an absurd person. Yes, I'm drinking some almond milk right now. Some Silk original almond milk. Okay. Bethia says, since I am Orthodox, do I have to get enrolled in the Catholic Church for the scapular, or may I just get it blessed and wear it? Just get it blessed and wear it. You can, if you want to go to a Catholic church, you can ask the Catholic Church to bless it and enroll you. I'm not enrolled, but if you want to be, you could go to a Catholic church and be like, hey, I'm Orthodox, I just want a scapular, and I'm sure the priest would help you out. Fatima says, Lizzie Rize 2040, and I become U.S. citizen to vote for her. I would never want to be president. It sounds like the most stressful job I could ever imagine. Like, it sounds horrible. Okay. My favorite thing about myself, I love this quote. You see me rolling. You said you would watch it last live stream. I know I did, and then I forgot. When we were in Florida, I was like, Trevor, let's watch it. And he's like, I don't want to watch it right now. I just want to go to sleep. And I was like, no, like, let's watch it. So we did it. Gyro says, if you watch it, I suspect you will do a video about it. You think I'll love it that much? Do you and Trevor live together? No, we do not. I live in California. He lives in Pennsylvania. Whenever we visit each other, we do not stay together. We either stay with a friend, Airbnb, sleep on a couch, but we don't sleep in the same bed. That's like against Catholic moral teaching. I don't know if it's official, but from everyone I've talked to, you shouldn't live together before marriage or sleep in the same bed until marriage. So that's why we don't do that. Raul says, what are you watching? So I'm just reading the chat from my phone because the chat is so far away because I'm like sitting down comfortably instead of sitting on the floor. So many live streams, I sit on the floor. It's so annoying. Okay. The Democrats want lockdown and will take away our constitutional rights. Ariana says, do you watch Ben Shapiro? I feel like you'd enjoy his content like me. I hate Ben Shapiro and I love Ben Shapiro. His abortion arguments are really great. He really like stands up for the pro-life cause, which I love a lot. But other things he says, like denying systemic racism, it's just like really just like stand up against systemic racism. Let's end this. Let's fix this. Let's uproot racism together as a country instead of just denying it. It's so ridiculous. I bet that milk tastes very good, Liz. Yeah, it's really yummy. There's a mandate to vote for a specific candidate. People keep saying this is too short. Look at this, you guys. It's long. Alexander, wasn't this about life without the Eucharist? I don't have the Eucharist. So it is life without the Eucharist. But yeah, I should have started off talking about that. And then we got distracted and talked about so many different things. But basically, I said at the beginning that I am able to go to Mass now. I've been on the East Coast for a couple weeks. It's really great. But I'm not receiving the Eucharist because I think it's too dangerous to receive the Eucharist. Yvonne says, can't you visit Tanzania? I watch you always. Okay. Can you speak French? No. I took a French class. I can't even say French. That's how bad I am. I took a French class in college and I was so bad at it. It was like crammed into a month and it was really, really hard. Hi, ESTJ Lizzie. Question from Maya, ISTP. What do you think about the voter suppression with the mail-in vote and second round stimulus check delay held up by this ESTJ president? Absolutely not. Trump is not an ESTJ. He's an ESTP, like 100%. He reminds me of my ESTP friends, although they're not as awful and not as bully-like and not as fraudulent as Trump. But Trump is an ESTP, like objectively. ESTJs would never like openly mock people like the way that he does. So just the way that he's so different, like he's not a J at all. Obviously he's a P. So yeah, please don't associate me with Trump. Not at all. Okay. Raul says it's never dangerous to receive the Eucharist. I mean, now that Trevor's tested negative for COVID, I assume I don't have COVID, so maybe I should receive the Eucharist today. But I don't like exhaling when, like, you can get, that's the thing, like, you can get it at any point. Like, you can be at the grocery store, you can be walking down the street, you can be, like, walking past a neighbor, you can touch, like, your apartment door, then someone else has touched it and get the virus, like, you know, like, at any moment. So, yeah. I just don't think it's safe. Mimi said, Lizzie, did you do Bible study this last Tuesday or took the week off because you were traveling? I took the week off because I was traveling. Stephanie said, do you think it's okay for a boy to wear makeup and girls' clothes and still identify as his true gender? Absolutely. I've heard people say that. They literally ask the priest in confession, like, I'm a dude, can I wear dresses? And the priest is like, yes, absolutely. Who cares how you dress as long as it's modest? So, yeah. You See Me Roland says, I'm honestly not as paranoid about it anymore. I'm always kind of paranoid about it, but being in Florida, just seeing how much people didn't care, it kind of made me care less, but I should care even more about it. So, because people are literally dying and everything. So, We no longer listen to the gospel of Jesus, but the gospel of COVID. That's so ridiculous. That's not true at all. Ariana, have you made a video about modesty? Would love to watch that. So like in the past, I made videos about modesty and like rules for modesty, and I hated the videos so much. I've actually taken them down. But I actually wanted to make one like researching the history of modesty and like making a video about it. And Trevor was like, Lizzie, don't do that. No one will take you seriously. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I shouldn't make a video talking about like the history and theology of modesty in Christianity. He's like, no one will take you seriously because everyone thinks you dress so immodestly. And like people call me a thought and everything because of how I dress. It's so stupid. So yeah, he doesn't, what do you guys think? Like he doesn't think that I should make that video. I don't know though. Demand Wood says, you're the prettiest ESTJ, Lizzie. So you don't think Trump is judgmental? He's extremely judgmental. J, meaning judgment, doesn't mean judgmental. It's so much deeper than that. Ariana says, I would take it seriously. It sounds so interesting. Yeah, I think it's interesting too. And oh, wow, guys. So Tertullian, do you guys know who Tertullian is? He lived in like the mid-2nd, early 3rd century, and he ended up being a heretic at the end, but he talks about modesty so directly. Like he goes after women and men for caring about their appearance. So he's like, women shamefully dye their hair to look different than their ethnicity, and men get intricate beard designs that go against God. Like he just goes off about like wearing makeup, fashion, dyeing hair. He like hates it so much, and like that was his personal opinion. It's not like church dogma, especially since he ended up becoming a heretic. But I definitely would include like his on modesty in the video because I think it's so funny. Mimi says, Lizzie, do you think some of the lockdown restrictions will be lifted after the election? No, I don't think the election will affect it, mostly because a lot of the laws have to do with individual states. So it doesn't have to do with Trump or Biden, but it has to do with the governors. So that's not really, I mean, some governors might be getting reelected, but ultimately it comes down to states and cities. So I don't think it's going to change until we get a vaccine, which isn't going to be until next year. Maria said, you should get to make a video if you want. I would be interested in watching it. Okay, so 2 people are interested in watching my video. Anyone else? Ricky says the left uses COVID to promote fear and have control. Tanya says, hi, Lizzie. Have you read Confessions by St. Augustine? No, I have not read it. I read excerpts from it. My boyfriend's read it like so many times. Like I can't even... probably like 7 times, and he has so many different copies of it. So I should definitely get on it and read it. Gyro says, I just watched an amazing Sola Scriptura debate in Matt Frad's YouTube channel. You would love it. Fatima says, at my parish, the priest from the altar says the body of Christ, and we answer amen, so we don't have to talk when we receive the Eucharist. I don't understand. Leisha Long says, do you now worship Mary as a Catholic? Absolutely not. Catholics do not worship Mary. I'm sure that amidst 1 billion Catholics in the world, there might be 1 out of 1 billion who actually worships Mary, but it is a mortal sin in Catholicism to worship anyone other than God, or to worship a statue, or to worship an icon, to worship a saint. It's a mortal sin in Catholicism. So officially the church teaches against it. I'm sure, like I said, there's 1 billion Catholics in the world. 1 person might worship Mary, but it's officially against the church teaching. And me personally, I don't worship Mary. I've never met a Catholic who worships Mary either. Victoria said, I would watch your video on modesty and take it seriously. And I also wanted to make a video like modest mass outfits. And Trevor's like, Liz, like no one will take that seriously. And I'm like, but I want to make a modest mass outfit Kurt's video. So maybe I shouldn't listen to him as much as I have been. Maybe I should like make my own decisions. He's just like, Trevor is such a forceful person in like intellectually that like when he says something, he argues for it. And I'm like, oh, you're right. Like I must be wrong on this because he's so good at like debating and stuff. So that's why I didn't even question it after he said that I shouldn't. Okay. If you're new here, I'm eating this rambutan, which are called hairy berries from Asia. I saw them at Trader Joe's and I got so excited. And guess what? Trevor refuses to try one. I tried to feed it to him and he's like, absolutely not. They're so good though. Okay. Google account says I'm about to tweet a clip. If that's cool, yes, go for it. Okay. You see me rolling. Today's mass was the only time I felt the priest's finger on my tongue during communion. That's not a good sign. They kept safety practices by sanitizing their fingers. If they do so, I'm still not worried. Interesting. Ariana says, yes, outfit ideals would be great. I don't know how to dress myself. That's so funny. Demand Woods, Trump judges skin color. He hates Black Lives Matter. He's a racist Lizzie. Good ESTJ, ISTP argument. Biden says he will mandate masks if he is elected. David said, how is the California heat? So I've actually been surprised when visiting my boyfriend when he lived in Nashville and when he lives in Pennsylvania. It's so much hotter than it is in California because California is on the coast. And so the wind comes in and makes it not as cold. But on the East Coast, when you're not on the beach, it can get to like into the 90s. Like it can get really, really, really hot. So it's actually cooler in California. Like I'll look on the weather app right now and tell you. So where I am, it is 73 degrees, but it's been like 90 degrees. So it's weirdly not that hot today. But, sorry, my weather app is being really weird. Okay, here we go. So it's 97 degrees in California right now. That's crazy. Okay, well, it's getting really hot then. But, wow, I'm glad I'm not there then. Like today, it's actually cooler here than there. Okay, I'm going to pour myself more almond milk. I should have brought more food and made this into a mukbang because I'm kind of getting hungry. I might order food, but then, oh, wow, do you guys remember a couple live streams ago when I had like a package delivered and I like ran downstairs and it got stolen and everyone like stayed and waited for me to get back and they're like, Lizzie, I can't believe someone stole it. You have to report it. It was so funny. It was a good bonding moment between us. Okay. Kurt says, I'm pretty sure you're pronouncing Rambutan wrong. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I am pronouncing it wrong. Lucia says, how often would you recommend to go to confession? Is every 2 weeks too much? Some priests consider it too much. Others recommend it, so I get confused. I go like once a month. So every like 3 to 5 weeks. I don't know. Yeah, see, some priests are more conservative, some are more liberal. So it totally depends on the priest. So it depends on if you've sinned or not. Like if you go religiously every 2 weeks, I think that's wrong because I think you should actually have a sin to confess. And I think if you're really staying close to God, participating in the sacraments, you shouldn't be like mortal sinning every 2 weeks. I think that's bizarre. So yeah, go as often as you need to go, but be constantly like thinking of what you've been struggling with and to confess it and stuff. Ariana says, do you think being pro-choice and vegan is counterintuitive? I thought vegans were automatically going to be pro-life, but I was wrong. Yeah, I mean, it depends on people's politics, but yeah, I mean, that's another, like I was just saying, I like being consistent. So like, not only am I pro-life womb to tomb for humans, but I'm also pro-life womb to tomb for non-human animals as well. So I like that I'm consistent in that. So vegans are not consistent at all when they're okay with abortion, but then they're against animals being killed. It makes no sense at all. You would think that they'd all be pro-life. Okay, I'm gonna have another hairy berry because apparently Rambutan is the wrong way to pronounce it. These are so good. I have to get Trevor to try one of these. They're so, so, so good. Okay, let's go back to the chat. I don't blame Trevor because they look so gross. But like inside, they look normal. It looks like a big grape. Thank you for the donation. Message deleted by Alexander. I didn't even see what Mike said. Kurt says, I'm in the LA area. It's supposed to be hovering around 100 most of the week. Wow. Kurt said, yeah, a big peeled grape. Alexander said it was the fart person again. Son of Thomas More, do you think Arya and Ezra's relationship was problematic? So he's talking about in Pretty Little Liars. Yes, it was awful. I don't know why anyone thought it was cute for a junior in high school to be dating her professor who's like 5 years older than her. Like, that's so weird. It wouldn't be weird if she was 2 years older, but it is weird. So I always hated their relationship. I thought he was like a really weak person. And yeah, I'm just not a fan of them like at all. Fatima said that fruit looks like COVID-19. Yeah, do you guys think this looks like the coronavirus? Uh-oh, it's dripping water. I'm gonna be right back, you guys. It's putting like tiny drips of water on my computer. I don't want it to break my computer again. I don't want to break another computer. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's go back to the chat. Google account sent me the tweet. Let's see what it is. Talking about excessive war. How long is the clip? And 1 minute and 42 seconds. Let me share it on my Twitter. Okay. Thank you for promoting me so much. Yvonne says, why do Americans use guitars instead of piano in a holy mass? So I don't know the answer to that question. I know a lot of people get offended when we use instruments like that in mass. So me personally, I think that like the church allows that to happen. And I trust like the church, the bishops and the priests. And I know a lot of people don't, but they're allowing those instruments to be used in worship. I know that there's so much diversity in music depending on the culture, and so I think we shouldn't bash certain instruments because it's how a lot of people express their culture, if that makes sense. Like, think if you were looking at a different country, like if you're looking at Catholicism in Uganda, how they're dancing during their 3-hour mass, if you were like, that's horrible, it's almost racist to say that about a different country and a different culture. So in our own country, there's so many different cultures. So I'm the type of person who I don't want to judge people for that, if that makes sense. I don't think judging is like ever a good thing. Jesus is like, why don't you take the giant plank out of your own eye before judging the speck in your neighbor's eye? So there's probably something that you're doing wrong during Mass, or that in your heart is wrong, that you're missing because you're judging these people for using guitars. So it seems like such a menial thing, in my opinion. Potato Fries says, one instrument is bad though. Like every instrument can be used to get to God. Tanya says, I have a question. If we can't go to confession and just pray and repent to God at home for mortal sins, is it okay to still receive the Eucharist? No, I wouldn't receive the Eucharist. I think that doing the confession on your own is kind of like a life or death situation. So it's kind of like, in the chance that you die, Jesus isn't going to condemn you to hell because you were physically unable to get to confession. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't treat confession as necessary for forgiving sins. So it's kind of like, yeah, what I just said, like, I don't think Jesus is going to condemn you to hell because physically you couldn't get to confession. But it's weird to me that your Mass is open and not confession. Like, why is your confession not open if Mass is open? I think that's really, really problematic. Lee says, why do Catholics pray to saints for their intercession? Do they really help with our prayers? So I literally just uploaded a video talking about this. So I'm going to link it in the chat. It's called Why Catholics Pray to Saints. So I'll put it in the chat. Why Catholics Pray to Saints. Cool. So go watch the video. Bye. Leave the live stream. Go watch that video. It's more important than what I'm talking about in the live stream. King David was a musician. That is correct. He was. Ariana said he already watched the video, but he's still asking these questions. I feel like the video did a really good job of showing historically and biblically why we pray to saints and that they're more powerful than our prayers. I always get this question, Lucia. What do you think of Jordan Peterson? I think he's extremely overrated, and I think that Canada is like so lack of religion and godless that he's like this amazing spiritual force just because they're so lacking in spirituality there. Alexander says, I love how you just chased that person away. Well, I just think like it's so annoying. I understand I've made like 100 videos talking about Catholic theology, so there's a lot of videos to watch. But it's kind of annoying when like a week ago I uploaded a video on that exact topic and now people are like still asking about the topic. Like, watch the video. I understand. Anyways, it's just kind of annoying. Hi, Brandon the Poet. How are you? Mark said, so are you saying that Jesus won't forgive us without going to confession? So Jesus set up confession in the Bible. We're going to go to the exact Bible verse. Let me get to it, and I'm going to read it to you guys. So we're going to read in John, the Gospel of John, chapter 20, 21 to 24. Jesus said to them again, peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, even now I am sending you. When he said this, he breathed on them and said, receive the Holy Spirit. If you forgive the sins of anyone, they are forgiven. If you withhold forgiveness from anyone, it is withheld. So Jesus set up the sacrament of confession with his apostles when he was on earth. And then he set up apostolic succession, which I've made 2 videos, one talking about apostolic succession, one talking about confession, which in the confession video, I talked about apostolic succession. So basically, Jesus set that up to forgive mortal sins. So the question is, do you have to go to confession and receive absolution from your mortal sin, or you will go to hell? Yes, we don't know. Maybe God is merciful and just, And we don't need to follow the exact perfect Catholic formula to be in heaven. But why are you going to chance it? God gave us these sacraments of baptism and confession to forgive sins for everyone. So why are you going to like tiptoe around and like, maybe God will forgive me? Like, of course God will forgive me. I don't need to go through the Catholic sacraments. Like, we're talking about eternal salvation, spending eternity with God. Just take it really, really seriously and go through the sacraments. And I don't want to scare you guys, but it's just an objective thing that God set up the church for our benefit so that we can make it to heaven. So I think we should really focus on incorporating our lives into the sacraments. Okay, back to the chat. Saint Michael, I wonder that too, and I'm the one they pray to. Thank you for the donation. Ariana says, apostolic succession is so cool, it blows my mind. Teresa says, your hair is beautiful dark. I think she's watching the very beginning of the chat from the beginning, and we're already like an hour in. So at the beginning, I was talking about how I'm making my hair go back to blonde on Tuesday. I'm so excited. Tanya says, do you have any recommendations for the best theology books to read? Favorite writer, St. Thomas Aquinas, C.S. Lewis, St. Teresa of Lisieux. So I have an entire video I will link for you talking about the top 20 Catholic books that I recommend. Let me find the video. I think I made it this year. Let's see. Here we go. So the video I'm going to share with you, it's the top 20 Catholic books to read. I also have an Amazon shop. So if you just go to Google and Google Lizzie's Answers Amazon shop, I have several shops. I get commission from it, so it's a way to donate to my channel. I have theology books, philosophy books, fiction books, bipolar disorder books, so all sorts of things to help you out on your intellectual pursuits. So just Google search Lizzie's Answers Amazon playlist, and you'll see loads of books that I'm recommending. So you might have one on a specific topic that you're wanting to know about. Teresa says, no, sorry, I'm literally watching now and didn't hear that about your hair. Sorry. Oh, okay. You're just talking about my hair. Cool. Confession. Thanks for teaching about me, Lizzie. Much love. Oh, that's so funny. People are like changing their usernames to conform to the. Anyways, thank you for the donation. Eric says, heresy. The body and blood of Christ are meant to be taken symbolically, not literally. Wrong. I have an entire video talking about John 6 and why we should take John 6 literally. So I'm going to link that video in the chat. I highly recommend you watching it. It will show how church fathers in the early church believed it, that it was literal and not figurative. I've also talked a lot about here. John 6 video, so leave this live chat and go watch that video. It's way better than this live stream will be, and it might make you convert into Catholicism. We'll see. So what was I going to say? Oh, I know. So in John 6, in the passage, when Jesus is saying, eat my flesh, eat my flesh, eat my flesh, eat my flesh, the word Jesus uses for eat, trogon, is only used 6 times in the entire New Testament. And trogon is an animal gnawing, crunching, audibly eating raw vegetables, nuts, plants, and seeds. So an animal like chowing down, chewing, wildly eating. That's the word that Jesus chose to use there. So that's one of the reasons that we take it literally as well. But something else really, really important is that it also is meant symbolically. It also represents his death on the cross. It represents him shedding his blood. So the church fathers will be like, this is a beautiful symbol. But also, they have a totally different definition of what we mean by symbol. So when they say symbol, they don't mean completely figurative. But it is taken symbolically, it's also taken literally. So Protestants will cherry pick and look at church fathers and be like, wow, this person is taking it symbolically, when in other parts of their writings, they'll also talk about it literally. So that's why Protestantism still reigns supreme in the US and in a lot of parts of Europe, because people cherry pick Catholic sources. Ariana says, are there a list of mortal and venial sins? So I'm going to make a video talking about mortal sins in the future, and I will have a list. The lists that I have seen are based on the 10 Commandments and then go into specifics based on the 10 Commandments. That's a really good question to just have a straight up list. So ask someone other than myself, maybe just Google around and you'll find a document or a priest talking about a list of mortal sins. Joshua says, what is a scapular? So it's a piece of, is it fleece? It's made of, what is a scapular made of? It's like a brown square, and it's a devotion to Mary. Scapular made of cloth, wood, or laminated paper. No, it has to be like a, it's from a sheep, it's from something. Someone comment in the chat what the, wool, it's made of wool. I said fleece, I don't know if that's the same thing. So it has to be made of wool, and I don't know why Google is saying that it can be made of like paper and stuff. That's totally not true. But yeah, so the scapular is made of wood and wool, it's made of wool, and you're supposed to wear it all the time as a devotion to Mary, and you're supposed to think about living a life like Mary when you're wearing your scapular. Kurt says Google is full of crap. I know, but usually when you Google things, like Wikipedia has like good sources and stuff, so I was surprised how bad that is. John 6 comments, Lizzie's right. Consult me if you don't believe her. You see me, Roland says, maybe Google is spouting fake news. Tauk says, what's your ethnic background, Lizzie? Being Irish mixed, it was easier for me to bring myself to Catholicism. So I don't know my ethnicity. I've been trying to get sponsored by Ancestry.com for so long, and they ignore my emails. So I need to like keep trying and be like really intense with them or 23andMe. But I really want to do Ancestry because my parents did it through there. So technically I know through my parents a little bit what my ethnicity is, but I don't really believe it because like my dad's DNA doesn't say that he's Asian at all. And people always think that I'm Asian because of my eyes. And then people think I'm Hispanic as well. So I don't really know what the deal is with my ethnicity. Kurt says we can crowdfund your DNA test on GoFundMe. I should just use my Patreon money for it. That's what I should do. You see me, Roland says just use their products as a customer. Yeah, but as a YouTuber, you get so many free products. So it's hard for me to justify actually spending money on something that I could get as a sponsored video, you know? Joshua says, can you explain why we do devotions to Mary and not just Jesus, please? So it's completely different. Worshiping Jesus versus venerating, which venerate means respect, people other than God. So we're not worshiping the saints. We are having devotions is a good word to use, but it's not worship. So it'd be like writing an affirmation card to your mom or your dad or your boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife. You're writing them a thank you card for everything that they've taught you about life, everything they've given to you, the beautiful ways that they live, how you're inspired by their lives. So that's what devotion is to a saint. It's the same type of devotion you'd have to someone you love in your life. And so when we see an icon and kiss an icon, which I have not been doing during COVID, no kissing the feet of statues or anything because of COVID. But when we do that, it's just like how you give a hug to your husband or wife, or kiss them, or shake hands with someone. It's the same thing when we kiss the feet of the icon, or kiss the icon, or kiss. Even when we kiss Jesus, we're like hugging the people, if that makes sense. So it's not worship at all. It's just the same way that we would love and be grateful to other people in our lives. And it also has to do with respect. Like one of my friend I was just visiting in Florida, she's Chinese, like born in China. And for her, it was so easy to understand veneration. Like she's like, of course you would respect people who are older than you, who've like given you the faith. And she's Protestant, it just makes sense in her culture. So I think like Asian culture especially is more into respecting your elders, whereas in America, we are not about that at all. We're very disrespectful. So I think because of that, that's kind of a huge reason why there's a disconnect in understanding it. Yvonne says, why do you overlook my question? I just didn't see it. I don't see it. I'm like scrolling up and I still don't see it at all. Fatima said, do you have a friend from Mexico? You're my friend from Mexico, of course. Joshua said, what is your Amazon playlist called? So just Google, how about why don't you tweet me or send me a Facebook message or Instagram DM and I'll send you a link to it. It might be that when I Google it, it's different than the results when you Google. I just assume that the results are the same. So maybe it's actually not. Heather says, Lucy's answers. I was told nights ago, according to Dad's autopsy, he died of phenytoin overdose. He probably injected it to go in peace after being homeless for 5 years with a broken clavicle. Would God have mercy? Yes, pray and pray and pray and pray for his soul. Absolutely. You see me, Roland says Lizzie's playlist is the whales mating playlist. Interesting. Robertson, Lizzie, do you think that Protestants pray more than Catholics? In your opinion, who has more faith? I think that Catholics, like when we look at practicing Catholics and practicing Protestants, I think that Catholics pray a lot more just because we have so many different memorized prayers and we're encouraged to pray the rosary every single day, which includes like 6 different sets of prayers and also impromptu praying as part of it. So I think because we're taught to pray like all throughout the day, like with liturgy of the hours as well, I think that Catholics pray longer than Protestants for sure. Just because it's not just impromptu prayers, but it's all of these practice prayers. And I mean, at Mass, we pray way more than them. We have way more prayers incorporated into Mass than they do into Protestant service. Scott and Venue, thank you so much for the donation. I have not had communion since we've been social distancing. I hate this. I believe we are in a time of chastisement and we should all do penance and increase our prayer life. Lizzie, may God bring you awesome blessings. Tanya, do you pray the liturgy of the hours? Yes, I do sometimes. I really like doing it in groups especially. Fatima, do you think it's wrong to receive the Eucharist on the hand instead of, I think she says she meant instead of in the mouth? I don't think it's wrong at all because the church, the bishops, the pope, the cardinals, everyone allows it. So I think it's fine. I think it's more respectful to receive it in the tongue, and I wish everyone did that, but I think it's fine to receive in the hand because our church leadership is saying that it is. You see me rolling. What language is that? We can't read it. They just wanted to participate in the live stream, I guess. Ariana says, do you believe in demon possession or when you read the Bible talked about if they meant mental illness? So I think it's both. I think that some of the exorcism have to do with, what is it called when people have, Seizures. I think some of the demon possession is seizures. I think some of it is schizophrenia, but I think some of it is legit demon possession. So I think it's both. Alexander says, if you were a demon, what would your name be? You can use gibberish. I don't know the answer to that question. Tatiana, can the Pope ever be wrong? It depends on what it is. Like, the Pope can never be a heretic. So when it comes to like theology, he cannot be wrong. Ariel says, finally able to join the live stream again. Yay! Thanks for being here. Tanya said, what is your experience with Lectio Divina? I think that reading through it out loud is too fast for me. I like to marinate more on the individual prayers. And when I say it with other people, I don't like saying it in unison. I like when one person reads one part slowly and then another person reads another part slowly. I don't like just like zooming all the way through. It's like overwhelming and too much information almost. Leisha Long says, what does the Bible say about the Assumption of Mary on the 15th of August? So the Assumption of Mary holiday was yesterday. I made an entire video talking about the Assumption of Mary. So I will link that to you in the chat. I made the video last summer, and the main reason that we know that Mary's body was bodily assumed up into heaven is because no one claimed to have her relics. So it was like a big deal in the early church where people are like, these are the relics of Peter. These are the relics of St. Paul. These are the relics of Thomas. These are the relics of Polycarp. Like everyone, these are the relics of Augustine. These are the relics of the true cross. Like people were obsessed with keeping the bones and body parts of holy Christians. And so no one ever claimed to know where Mary was buried or to have body parts of Mary. So if you study in depth into the early church, you'll just see like how obsessed they were with relics. And you can say from that, like 100% that her body isn't on earth. So I'll link the video in the chat. Assumption of Mary video. Sarah said, any 30-day Catholic challenges coming up, like the Rosary Challenge you did? So I am going to do a video where I do a meditation challenge. I'm doing a sponsored video with a company. So I'm going to do like my weekly God routine, if that makes sense, and share different things that I do throughout the week of like devotional. So it'll be like kind of a challenge because I have to incorporate meditation into my life. So I think that will be really, really cool. Sarah says, interesting, looking forward to it. Alioth said, Lizzie, what do you think of the QAnon crazies taking over Christianity? Is that worrisome? What is he talking about? What does that even mean? Alexander says John 7, 2-5. What is John 7, 2-5? John 7, 2-5. Now the Jews' feast of booths was at hand, so his brothers said to him, leave here and go to Judea, so that your disciples also may see the works you are doing. For no one works in secret if he seeks to be known openly. If you do these things, show yourself to the world, for not even his brothers believed him. Okay, you guys. So cousin and brother is the same word in Greek. So when you say brothers and sisters, it also means cousins. And I made an entire video talking about the perpetual virginity of Mary, the main reason that we know 1,000% that Jesus did not have brothers or sisters is because on the cross in John's gospel, Jesus gives away his mother to his friend John, to the disciple John. So the question is, if Jesus had brothers or sisters, his mom's, well, obviously Joseph is dead at the time if he's giving away his mother to someone else. So Jesus was the caretaker of his mother. She would have automatically gone to his next youngest brother or to the husband of his sister. It was a patriarchal society. But instead, he gives his mother away to a friend. That would have been so disrespectful, unheard of in their culture. And so 1,000%, it's because he had no living brothers and sisters. So that's why he gave her away to John. Emily said, Lizzie, I saw a meme of you on a Catholic Facebook group. What did the meme say? Is it the one that like I was with Michael Boris? Tanya said, how do you keep yourself focused, not distracted during the rosary? So yesterday, I work like hours a week as a campus minister, and we had to do a video for the start of the semester for one of the schools. And the priest I work with was not sending me his footage. He was like, I'm so busy, I can't make the video, I can't send footage. And I was like, I have to have the priest on the video to have a good video. Like I had to have him. And so I prayed my rosary, and at the very end of praying my rosary, he texted me, yes, I will do it. And then during mass, he made the video and everything. But the thing is that I was so wired and stressed. I haven't been that stressed out in so long. I was so wired and stressed out about the video, and so it took so long to focus. So what I do when I don't focus is I say the same line over and over and over and over again until I focus. So I'll say the Hail Mary prayer like 10 times on one bead until I get focused, and it forces me to focus. So I'm not just like haphazardly praying the rosary, but I'm like forcing myself to focus. And it's really hard. Like sometimes it took like 3 sets of mysteries to finally be able to just like do each bead and like flow through. But I think that's the rosary. Like when you're freaking out and stressed out and so sad and something horrible is happening, you're still able to pray the rosary and find peace as you're doing it, as you're praying for your prayer intentions. Lizzie, what do you think of the Instagram account Catholicism? Let's see. You'll get a live reaction. Catholicism. Oh, I found it. What Catholics see: Latin, Coptic, Eritrean, Ethiopian, Armenian, Albanian, Greek, Bulgarian Greek. What Catholics also see: one holy Catholic Apostolic Church. That's kind of heretical. Hi, my name is Father you idol worshiper. Jesus said to call no man father. And then it also says founding fathers of the country. That's funny. Catholics being the first missionaries to the far corners of the earth, facing almost certain death. Eastern Orthodox just sort of chilling in their own nation for thousands of years. Protestants traveling to Central and South America to preach Christianity to people that have had Christ for hundreds of years. That's kind of mean, implying that Orthodox don't evangelize at all. I mean, it's a little bit true, but I feel like that's not a complete picture. Okay, this is really funny. When someone tries to hold my hand during the Our Father, I'm sorry, is that a flirtation? Instagram, don't be ugly. Facebook, don't be young. Twitter, don't be racist. Laudate, don't be degenerate. That's so mean. So it's showing a Catholic, a Protestant who looks like a child being sprayed with wasp killer, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant wondering why he's getting sprayed with wasp killer, Catholic using scripture and ecclesiastical history in a debate. And PewDiePie made it into it. The saints looking at Vatican II from heaven. It is evolving just backwards. Wow, so they don't like Vatican II. When someone says the Lord's name in vain, Elmo is anxious that he might have to kill some of his friends. What? Okay, let's go back to the chat. It looks like there's some super comments. So Crossing the Trail said, my brother is most expected to last another 24 hours, praying for a peaceful passing. I will pray as well. You See Me Roland says it's a traditionalist Catholic meme page. You See Me Roland says the page on Instagram she's looking at is Catholicism. Mark said, have you ever thought about going on a pilgrimage when things open up, and where would you go? So on my honeymoon with Trevor, we want to go to Rome. I also really want to go to Guadalupe in Mexico, and those are like the only places I really want to visit right now. Obviously, traveling is expensive, and when I do travel, I tend to like to visit my friends, most of whom are not Catholic. So we are actually talking about that, how Trevor and I want to have like a really Catholic funeral, and like none of the bridesmaids and groomsmen are going to be Catholic unless my friends like convert in the next 2 or 3 years. So we shall see. Alexander put a ton of prayer emojis, palm tree emoji, dragon emoji. What is the one in between the palm tree and the dragon? Is that like a cat with a leaf? I don't know what that is. Emily says, Lizzie's answers, have you heard of Darren Brown? He's a psychologist magician, and he did a show on how religious experience is mere psychology. What do you think of this perspective as you're a smart Catholic? All religious experiences are just in your brain. Obviously, God gave us our brain that's linked up to an immaterial soul. So obviously, you're going to be able to find religious experience in the body because God gave us our bodies to experience religion. Happy Dog says, is that a crucifix in the background? Yes, that is a crucifix right there. Emily said, yes, it was the Michael Boris meme. Liz says, hey, Lizzie, I've just started reading my Bible regularly for the first time ever. It's super overwhelming, and I have no clue where to start. Any advice? Cool name, by the way. Honestly, I would talk to a priest or like a mentor, because I don't even know where you would start if you've never read the Bible. I recommend getting a study Bible. I recommend the Little Rock Study Bible. Here, I'll put it in the chat. Little Rock Study Bible. And Jonas says, is it okay to receive the body of Christ using the hand? Yes, it's okay. Church authority approves it. Absolutely. It's a valid way to receive the Eucharist. Don't stop receiving the Eucharist because you're receiving it in your hand. I think that's not okay, because the Eucharist is so important. It's such a beautiful part of our lives as Catholics. And I think that shouldn't be something stopping you from receiving the sacrament. Heather said, I'd like to see Western and Southern Turkey for the obvious reasons. Alias said, Alexandra, more emojis, please. Tanya said, have you watched Venerable Fulton J. Sheen's videos? Yes, he talks so slow. I can't even focus because he's talking so slow. It's crazy. Alexander said tornadoes and a fire. Alexander sent suns. I'm starting to feel really exhausted because I haven't had coffee today. It's too late to have coffee now, though. So I think I might go and work on uploading my video because my video was finishing processing. So my next video is going to be reasons that bipolar people go off their meds, top 10 reasons they go off their meds. Alexander is sending so many emojis and stuff. Okay, so let's see. Alioth, Lizzie, do you know how to pray the rosary in Latin? Mimi says, Lizzie, can we please talk on Instagram later? I'm struggling with and will you pray that I can follow the path that he wants me to and that I can do his will and not mine? Absolutely. I will screenshot this. Lizzie, do you know how to pray the rosary in Latin? Yes, I prayed it in Latin before. It took me like an hour and a half to pray it in Latin because I was trying to like focus on every single Latin word and understand it. So it took a long time. Ariana says, bye. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Alexander sent seashells, mushrooms. Love from Malaysia. Bert said, Alexander, are you drinking or manic? Yeah, you can always assume that like half of my subscribers have a debilitating mental illness, right? Thank you, Lizzie. We love you. Drinking is evil. It's only evil to get drunk. It's not evil to drink. That's fine. Okay, I'm gonna go. I will have my video uploaded after this. Make sure, if you haven't, to try Rambutan. Oh no, there's water! No. Okay, well, I have to clean up the floor now because there's water that fell on the floor. Alexander said, I exercised you. Do you feel different? Okay, I love you guys so much. I will be back for another live stream in a few days. I might have Trevor come on with me. We'll see what happens. But I love you guys a lot, and I will see you in my next video, which is tonight. Bye.